Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to World of Wrestling. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe at this time. Hit the like button if you like this video after watching the entire thing. And definitely leave any comments down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that as well. Today I'm going to talk about May 13th episode of 2020 for AEW Dynamite. I definitely will be checking out NXT during this weekend, so keep an eye out for that review. And I will also be uploading a video at some point later on this week about WCW Nitro versus WWF Raw is War from 1997. So I will definitely go forth and keep the momentum going here on the channel, as well as going ahead and continuing on with the WCW WWF Monday Night War episodes, giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on those episodes as I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, almost month and a half. So let's go straight into it. AEW tonight, I gotta admit, was real garbage. I did not like this episode very much. There were some good things that happened on the show that made it okay, but majority of the show really did not get my attention. The show was kind of slow, lackluster, and they seemed like they were having an off day, like they were kind of laid back, just doing their thing and producing a show, just getting people out there and performing, and that's pretty much it, just to entertain an audience the best that they could. The thing that's kickstarted everything that was really good, Lance Archer came out of nowhere to kickstart everything by beating up some stagehand towards the ring as Jake Roberts comes behind laughing. He gets in the ring and is requested to say he's sorry, or apologize, I should say, which is the same thing. He goes ahead and he says he's told that he's out here that he needs to apologize for what he did to Brandy Rhodes. He says, if she can kiss his ass first. He says everything is fair game. When you step into the ring, it's no man's land. This is their story and they're writing the chapters. And as far as he is concerned, women are great at home for wiping babies' butts, cooking, cleaning, and keeping men warm. Very sexist there, buddy. Welcome to 2020, where women actually do matter in professional wrestling. Unfortunately, in WWE and in AEW for that matter, they haven't been doing a good job of that lately. So Roberts goes on saying this. Watching Archer gets him Randy. He turns his attention to Cody, but as he's talking, we hear an engine revving up. I want to plug this in here. I'm not promoting Blue Chew, but if you follow JD from New York, I would like to throw this in there. Roberts, Jake the Snake Roberts, apparently doesn't need Blue Chew because Lance Archer gets him really excited. Just wanted to throw that out there. If you're not a follower of JD from New York 206, please apply to his channel. He's definitely way better than I am, but I'm trying my best to improve as I move on with each video. I know I'm not the best talker, but damn do I have intelligence when it comes to producing a show, when it comes to pushing people and putting titles from one person to the next. And I'll definitely prove that here when I get to the Brodie Lee, John Moxley situation. So we go ahead and we see a black SUV with Cody's logo on it, on the hood of the car. It's actually a Ford F-150. And Cody is nicely dressed in a driver's seat, and he revs the engine before driving forward a few feet and neatly knocking over some guardrails. Cody hops out, and Archer runs over to fight him. Cody low blows Archer and unloads on him. but Archer quickly turns the tables and throws him over the guardrail onto the small table. They fight to ringside, and Cody slams Lance into the ring post. Archer slams Cody on the apron, but Rhodes grabs his ponytail and pulls it. Cody rolls into the ring and grabs a chair, throws it at Archer, but eats a big boot instead. Cody counters the claw and attempts a Cody cutter, but Archer pushes him off and then retreats with Roberts. Personally, you may ask me, how do I feel about this segment? Do I think they went a little too far? Did they give us too much? I think they gave us just exactly what we needed. They laid some hands on each other, but nobody hit their finishing maneuvers, which is a good thing. Everything was countered when it came to the big moves that each person has in their moveset. So I was very okay with this segment. I thought it really kind of increased the level of the purpose of this match, especially with the TNT Championship on the line. My feelings on Cody, because I've heard it on other YouTube channels that that they believe that Cody should win the TNT Championship. I don't feel the same way about the situation, but I do understand some of people's opinions on the idea, which I'm not against. But I think if you're trying to push a guy like Lance Archer, who's supposed to be a dominant character, he winning the TNT Championship, I think would be a better idea. But then again, at the same time, Cody would benefit from it as well. So, I mean, either way they go, in my personal opinion, I think it would be okay, but I would go with Lance Archer over Cody. Simply because of the fact that Lance Archer could use that win as momentum for a future world championship shot later on next year or something like that, if they produce him good enough to the audience where they actually get behind him as a legit badass. Which right now, at this point in time, he's definitely looking like that to me all around. So they're doing a great job with Lance Archer. I think he's being produced very well on this show compared to what he was in New Japan Wrestling. New Japan Wrestling, he seemed like a mid-card wrestler. Here, he seems like he has the potential being used so well by AEW that he could be a believable character to go after the World Heavyweight title. So I wouldn't have any problems with him going after the world title later on in like next year or so if they do it right. The next match, the first match on the card was actually Jurassic Express with Marco Stunt versus the Best Friends, which is Trent and Chuck Taylor. And they had Orange Cassidy with them, as always. They also did discuss about the tag team division, which I thought was very good. Very nice video package there just to hype up the tag team division, which I love that about AEW. They're definitely trying to push every aspect on their show. They're trying to push the TNT Championship. They're trying to make that important. They're trying to make the tag team division seem important. The world title match between Brodie Lee and Jon Moxley definitely got a nice little push here at the end of the show, which I'll get into. They really touch up on a lot of different things on the show, and that is what I like about AEW. So there you go on that. So Jurassic Express and Best Friends, this match was alright. I didn't have a big, huge issue with it. I think that the Best Friends winning this match was rather surprising, but then again not, because they have been on a winning streak of late. And I think eventually they could be a good challenge, be good challengers for the tag team titles against Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. That's a good possibility. Another tag team that I would be interested in taking the titles off of Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, I think Pride and Powerful would be great. I think them being the ones to take the titles off of fucking Kenny Omega and Hangman Page would be an awesome idea. They are one of the top-notch tag teams in their division. They have done a lot of things outside of AEW that they have records of doing all kinds of crazy-ass fucking things and having great matches. Over the last 2-3 years, they had Match of the Year candidates with the Lucha Brothers and Impact Wrestling. So, I mean, they have a legit, in my personal opinion, a legit right to become tag team champions in AEW. Now, after this match was over, we actually go backstage and we see that Jon Moxley arrives backstage and he's not in a very good mood to talk. He's kind of pissed off that Brodie Lee stole his championship, which I don't blame him. I think that's fucking retarded that his title was stolen from him just after a humongous beatdown from him and his goons. So I'll get into that by the end of this review. So Dr. Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander versus Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford. Oh god, this match sucked. Cheetah, though, thank God, won this match. This was a load of garbage. I absolutely despise this match. This match was just boring. And I'll tell you one thing, Penelope Ford, she needs to go back to the drawing board because, sweetheart, you need to get your fucking shit together. You botched way too much in this fucking match. I give her credit, though. She tried to do some really cool moves, but they did not get executed very well. They were horrible. I did not like it. Britt Baker, by the way, looked like a fucking idiot during this match. I don't know what the hell she was doing, but she's sitting there on the outside of the ring giving Statlander a lockjaw maneuver and not worrying about what's going on inside the ring, and she connects with a running knee to the head with her opponent sitting up on the mat and gets the 1, 2, 3. And that's it. Wow. And she didn't seem to care either. She didn't seem to care at all that she lost the match to get a number one contender shot for the women's championship. I thought that was a little retarded, in my opinion. Didn't make much sense. But whatever. So, Kenny Omega's making his entrance. Santana Ortiz attack him on the ramp. They beat him down to the ring and hit a moonsault before Hardy makes his entrance. And Santana meets Hardy on the stage but gets attacked and bitten. Yeah, he was bitten. And I don't know if he was bleeding or Matt Hardy happened to accidentally bite his own lip and make himself bleed. But here or there, it doesn't really matter. Hardy then comes to the ring and beats on Ortiz. The match actually is officially started. Santana and Ortiz versus Kenny Omega begins. Match finally begins and Santana whips Hardy into the barricade. While Kenny chops Ortiz in the ring, Omega flips over Ortiz and looks for a hip toss, but it's blocked. Ortiz racks the back of Kenny and poses like a tiger. Santana comes back and they double team Omega, but he hits a double bulldog and tags Hardy in. A lot of tagging in and out here, which is very good for tag team wrestling, especially it reduces the possibility of injury, I think. And as much as much tagging that went on during this match, it really lowers the probability of someone getting injured, which I think is a great idea. The action was fantastic. I really didn't have any major issues with this. Matt Hardy hits a huge twist of fate, and then Kenny hits Ortiz with a V-trigger, and Hardy hits a twist of fate from the top rope for the win and gets the 1, 2, 3. So there's the ending of that matchup for you guys. Let me go to page 2 here. And what the hell is going on here? Sorry, guys. My computer's acting fucking retarded, and it's an old one. So, apologize on that. But yeah, so Taz now interviews Darby Allin backstage, and he actually apologizes for their interview last week, in which he said that Darby lost the match against Cody himself. Only Taz again says it was Darby's fault. Allin gets up and tells Taz he knows how to wrestle. He did amateur wrestling in school. That's a nice little thing to throw in there to tell the audience, because I guarantee you nobody even knows that except for people that know him personally. I didn't know that at all. Hikaru Shida is interviewed backstage and is asked what her expectations are in facing Nyla Rose. Shida says she's happy because she can focus on winning the title. And then Rose walks up and congratulates Shida, and then hits her over the head with a kendo stick and says, there you go, bitch. Thought that was fucking weird. Then we get MJF in action for the first time in a long while since his injury, and he goes up against Lee Johnson in a very squash fashion. Match was garbage, didn't really care. After the match was over, MJF gets on the mic and says he's got some serious ring rust, so he thinks he should have a warm-up match against Marco Stunt next week. He also is mentioning that he's excited to go up against Jungle Boy at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. So MJF is being a prick once again, and he's doing a great job at doing it. After we come back from commercial break, Jericho goes up against Pineapple Pete. Now everybody's clamoring about Pineapple Pete, the name and all that, and Jericho giving the name to Pineapple Pete, and it really is stuck with his career now. I'm going to say this. This match absolutely was terrible. It looked horrible. The Judas effect did not work. Pineapple Pete fucked up. He ran right into Jericho's back instead of his elbow. So the whole maneuver was totally ineffective. It looked terrible. And he ends up losing anyway in less than a minute. Who cares? Jericho then grabs a bat and says he needs to address the matter at hand. The Inner Circle versus the Elite. That is if the Elite is still a thing. Which I'm kind of questioning my own self, since nobody's hardly ever shown up from the Elite. Outside of Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy. We haven't seen half of them for months. But they're honorable, so they're giving the Elite a chance to get their act together and face them one last time. So while the earth stands still, they've been busy. Jericho announced the Stadium Stampede match, a football stadium match, which of course will take place more than likely at the Jaguars football stadium across from the Daily Arena. So this, I will go on to say this. I am not sure why they just wouldn't have Double or Nothing in the Jaguar Stadium. I don't know why. It's right across the street from the Daily place. So I don't understand why they just don't have that match, the whole entire show, Double or Nothing, in the stadium. I think it would look very nice. Now, granted, there won't be anyone there, but you'll at least look like you're in a very nice fucking looking stadium. There's another thing I'd like to throw out there. Since they want to do a stadium event, why not have, once you're able to have fans in the arenas and have big get-togethers and shit like that, why don't you go ahead and have one of your big pay-per-views in Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium? I think that would be great. I guarantee you they could sell that fucking place out. Easy. They sell out freaking major pay-per-view events with 15,000. You don't think they'd be able to sell out a fucking whole entire stadium of 80,000 seats? Get out of here, man. I guarantee you they could get enough people to fit in that fucking stadium. So Vanguard 1 comes down with an Inner Circle t-shirt hanging from the handles of the flying object. That's what I'm going to say. It's a mechanical airplane toy. And Jericho says he's got a lot of guts. He says he's got a lot of guts showing up here. He has warrants out for Vanguard's arrest. That was fucking hilarious what he said. He made it sound like he committed a felony crime or something. Just because a fucking piece of machinery took a freaking mini shirt that he put on there. Jericho asks if they accept, and the "we accept" appears on the screen. Jericho acknowledges the actual dialogue on the screen of the machine, and Jericho asks Vanguard if he's reconsidered joining the Inner Circle, then says it doesn't matter because they've already found their sixth man. And the new member is Floyd. It's the Bat. Oh boy. They're turning into the New Day here. Anyway, with the trombone bullshit. Anyway, and they use it to destroy Vanguard 1. Matt Hardy comes down and lifts the remains of the drone and almost in tears. I absolutely laughed at this. This was downright over the top ridiculous and a little overkill in my personal opinion. Didn't know why they had to go overboard with this, but whatever. It was a little bit humorous. But somewhat ridiculous at the same time. We get an advertisement that Mike Tyson will be presenting the TNT Championship to either Cody Rhodes or Lance Archer at Double or Nothing. I can't believe AEW managed to get Mike Tyson. I was actually sitting there scratching my head saying, why the fuck wouldn't WWE pick this guy up and give him some money? I'm pretty certain he needs it since he ain't boxing anymore. There is rumors going around that Mike Tyson's considering a comeback, which I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, he is fast. I've seen some of his training videos. He's really developed into a faster boxer, especially for a guy who's a heavyweight. But he's 53 right now. I don't know if he would be able to accomplish being a boxer again, especially this late date in his life. So I don't know if that would even work, but him being with AEW is a surprising one and great for AEW to be able to even sign him to even appear at this show. I mean, I kind of figured WWE would go after him if he was looking for a job or just some sort of cheap payday or something. So the last match was Brodie Lee versus Christopher Daniels. This matchup, folks, I gotta say this. Brodie Lee, Christopher Daniels, they do not have good chemistry together. I did not like this matchup whatsoever. It was very boring. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. It just was boring. There was no excitement, at least for me. And I just really didn't like this matchup very much. Brodie Lee does end up winning the match. And in one moment of this matchup, Christopher Daniels looked like a fucking dumbass. He's standing there worrying about what's going on outside the ring. And instead, he turns around. He tries to hit the Angel's wings. Only gets a 1 count. Gee, I wonder, are we starting to see AEW rip off Drew McIntyre with the kick out at 1? A little weird there, AEW. That's kind of strange. And especially with Brodie Lee kicking out of Christopher Daniels' finishing maneuver at 1. I don't like that. I thought that was kind of stupid. And it really brings down Christopher Daniels' finishing maneuver. I think a kick out at 2 would have been more suitable. Lee lifts Daniels. But he lands on his feet and hits the best moonsault ever for a 2 count. Now, the best moonsault ever gets a 2 count, but the fucking Angel's Wings only gets a 1 count? Come on, that's a little ass backwards. I think that was fucking stupid. So Daniel heads up to the top and jump into a power bomb. Lee follows up with the discus clothesline for the win and the 1-2-3. Dark Order comes down and hand Lee the AEW World Championship, but Jon Moxley comes through the crowd and starts fighting off the followers. Lee leaves the ring, leaving Moxley to hit one of the followers with a paradigm shift, and Lee left with the AEW Championship once again. Now, he's supposed to be going one-on-one, Jon Moxley is, with number 10, the 10 follower of the Dark Order. Fucking ridiculous. So he's going ahead and he's having a one-on-one match with him. And Moxley gets on the mic with a little bit of time left on the show. And Moxley gets on the microphone and says he cannot suffer the disrespect. He says Brodie Lee has made a very bad decision that he will pay for with interest. He says the AEW World Championship is more than a piece of metal, and Lee will find out at Double or Nothing that there will be a hailstorm of violence coming his way. Lee will find his AEW career will end at the pay-per-view before it even starts. And that is how the show ends, with a little bit of Jon Moxley beating the shit out of some of the other followers, and then we go off the air, and that's that. Now, to go into about my feelings on the AEW World Championship run for Jon Moxley. I feel at this point, Jon Moxley should remain the AEW World Champion. Hands down. I don't think Brodie Lee deserves to be the World Champion. Most definitely not. He hasn't been there but a couple of months. So him winning the AEW World title, I would not be very satisfied with. I'd be very disappointed in AEW to make that decision. To me, this is a good opportunity to test Lee out in a big match situation to see how well he works with Jon Moxley. And if it goes over very well by critics and other people that have watched the show and so forth, and people are excited and they react well to it, I can see Brodie Lee later on down the line winning the World Championship. To me, this at this point is more along the lines of a test to see how Brodie Lee can do in a World Championship match. This man has never gotten a World Championship opportunity, so I see this as a benefit for him and Jon Moxley getting a legit title defense where he ends up winning the match and retaining the title. The person who I think deserves to win the AEW World Championship after Moxley's title reign ends, I think the person that should take the title off of Jon Moxley is Kenny Omega. Now, that's going to be until Kenny Omega is no longer the AEW World Tag Team Champion with Hangman Page. Now, this is how I see it with how that comes down to it. Hangman Page loses the titles with Kenny Omega. They become a rivalry. Hangman Page becomes a heel. Or you could even maybe make Kenny Omega a heel. You know, you can make Kenny Omega a heel, say, hey, you know what, you cost us the damn tag team titles, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And Hangman Page is a little upset about it. They kind of get in a brawl, and then Kenny Omega just slowly but surely within the coming weeks until the pay-per-view match at All Out, where Hangman Page and Kenny Omega could have this match. This is an opportunity to determine number one contender for the World Heavyweight title. Kenny Omega wins, and then this is saved for Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega to go at it at the Full Gear pay-per-view in November. And that is the 1-year anniversary of their brutal hardcore match that a lot of people got freakish about and got all creeped out over, which I was one of those people. That match was a little too brutal. Not because I was squeamish at it or anything. It just seemed to me that it was a little unsafe for these guys and detrimental to their health. So I think that was kind of my reason why I was against the whole match. But as violence goes, it was all there, man. It was on the top of the list of violence of a hardcore match than you can get. But this rematch was where you have a legit championship match that's just an average normal wrestling match that's not full of violence and destruction. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Please leave your comments down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to this channel. And I thank you very much again for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.